while she was reportedly still alive.
There were some of those. The dads came out and said he's
Yeah.
met her, but then they backtracked and said that he was covering his son's tracks because you have to remember a couple things. I'll throw this out there, and I'm not disagreeing with you at all, Al. He's a Mormon kid. He's very religious. He's a kid from Hawaii, and a lot of Polynesians and people, and this is complete generalization, but can be very shy and they're very family oriented and very, not like you and me where we might just go, yeah, look, I screwed up, I did it. And can be very, very protective of each other, and I think that may be at play as well too. So it's a very complicated story. You've got Notre Dame's involvement. Did they pump it up to try and help him win a Heisman Trophy? I mean, this is a university that made Joe Theismann change his name from Theismann in order for it to rhyme with Heisman.
Yep.
True story, Joe Theismann. So, there's some back history there with Notre Dame as well. But, look, fascinating story, without a doubt.
Yeah, the part I don't buy out of it all was when she was allegedly in the car accident. The journalist actually asked him, why didn't you go and visit her during the several months that she was in hospital?
Yes,
and he said,
the family didn't want him.
Part of what he said was, I just didn't think to. I was playing football all the time. And I'm like, well, normally you would, I would have thought. We've got Tommy in Rowville on the line wants to talk about the Super Bowl. Tommy, good
What
evening.
Super Bowl?
G'day, lads. How you going?
Good.
Very well.
Yeah, just a question for you, Ed. I know they picked the team, the place where they're going to have the Super Bowl at the start of the year. Two-part question. Has it ever landed at someone's place and they've been lucky enough to get in the final? And also, when was it originally that they did have it at the one of the two leading teams, that are in the Super Bowl?
There has never been a Super Bowl team that has played on its own home ground. The closest was, and I don't know the year, I forgot to bring my Super Bowl chart with me, but San Francisco won a Super Bowl at Stanford, which is about 40 minutes away, but it's not their home ground. And when the Super Bowl first started, the first game was in 1967, which is now we call Super Bowl I. It wasn't actually called the Super Bowl then. It was called the AFC-NFC Championship game. That was in Los Angeles. The first two were in L.A., so when they put that together, they made sure to put it in a neutral site. So you would have to go back to the pre-Super Bowl years to see when it was actually played on a home field.
Thank you, Tommy in Rowville. Just a couple of SMSs on what we were talking about. Chock says, the first 5 or so answers was all I wanted to hear. The rest of the interview was for bells and whistles. The only other question I want answered is, do you think you're still a 7-time Tour de France winner?
Good question.
And Brian says, I thought the interview was riveting, thought it was incisive, and I, for one, found it the best interview I've ever heard.
Fair enough.
Brian.
Well, it's a perception, isn't it? I mean, everyone's got to, and that's what Armstrong would have wanted. Half the people may have hated him, the other half might have gone, hey, he convinced me on some things.
And another one, thoughts on the Buffalo Bills new coaching staff? Big Bills fan.
Yeah, look, they're going to have to put something together. Doug Maroney, I think, the Syracuse guy. I hope I've got that name right. Look, he's going to have the same challenges, guys, that the other Buffalo coaches have had. They've got to put some things together. Got some quarterback issues. The quarterback they've signed, Fitzpatrick. I always get him confused with Fitzy. There's Fitzgerald and Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick signed a big contract. He's owed a lot of money, but they may have to buy him out of that and try somebody new. So, look, the Bills have got some talent, but again, they're in that division with the Patriots, the Jets, who we know will be better or we think will be better, and an improving Miami team. So, tough ask in Buffalo.
Now, we do have to take a break, but with Al back, we've got the keys to the prize cabinet again, and we've got another NBA Game Pass to give away this week.
Yes, I think we'll do the NBA Game Pass. We'll go through some markets on the other side of the break.
We will. 9429 11 16. So the first two callers through can go head-to-head. We'll take a look at some of those markets, but the first two callers through head-to-head into a Who Am I quiz with Alice Gander, your quiz master, for an NBA Game Pass. So get on the line, 9429 11 16, the first two callers.
This is Betstars and Stripes with Dr. Turf, Ed Wyatt and Alice Gander.
Welcome back to Bet Stars and Stripes. We have one caller on the line. Our second contestant dropped away, so they've still got a second line open, 9429 11 16. If you'd like to compete with Pete in Gladstone Park, who we'll bring into the conversation very shortly. An NBA Game Pass for the best prizes on Melbourne radio. Get access to all games whenever you want them. You can archive them. You can come back and watch them on your lunch break. You can go back and watch a game from 7 weeks ago, whatever it may be. It's a fantastic prize. So we've got Pete in Gladstone Park, and we need one contestant to run against him. 94291116 for a Who Am I question. First in, best dressed, Alaskander is your quiz master. So whilst we're waiting for our second contestant to get up to take on Pete, we'll also have a look at a couple of SMSs. One in regards to the Lance Armstrong thing, suggesting that people should just move on, but at the same time he references Wayne Harms cheating in the 1979 Grand Final, which gives an indication that perhaps he hasn't necessarily as well. Now, a reminder, when you bet with a Scanders BetStar, you know you are betting with a 100% Australian-owned company who are committed to providing the best customer experience in the business. So 94291116 if you'd like to compete, but a couple of the markets as well for the upcoming Super Bowl or the playoff matches for this weekend.
So why don't we start with the Super Bowl, because that's probably going to be just give us an overview of where the market sits. At the moment, the Pats are favourite, as you'd expect. They've eased this week. They were $2.10 earlier this week. They've eased out to $2.15. 49ers have shortened. They've been $3 this week into $2.90, and the remaining two teams have been pretty constant this week. The Falcons are $6 and the Ravens are $8. We've also got a market on who will be playing in the Super Bowls in the Quinella, if you like. We've got the favourite, as you'd expect, is going to be San Francisco and the Pats. They're $1.95 to play off in 2 weeks or whenever it is. Atlanta against New England are $3. San Francisco against Baltimore $6.50, and then the two rank outsiders being Atlanta and Baltimore to make it are a $10 chance.
And that's the one no one wants.
Agreed.
That's the one no one in the league, CBS, which is doing the game, nobody wants Atlanta-Baltimore, because that's going to be a hard one to get a storyline going for. I got news for you.
Do you think people would watch it anyway?
Oh yeah.
So it's not going to affect the viewership.
Talking points, storylines, things to write about it, things to get it pumped up. Look, I'll be honest with you, it's a great question, Al, because if it is Atlanta and Baltimore, it'd be interesting to see how that rating goes, because it's certainly not going to do there will be more people watching if it's San Francisco and New England. If it's that rematch of that great, I think, Week 15 game, that 41-34 game, that's going to be a huge rater. And if you get the two Harbaughs playing against each other, Baltimore and San Francisco, that will also do very well. But the others, I'm not sure about.
So you're a Denver fan, Ed, and I think you've just got over the heartache of last week. So you can speak neutrally now.
I can speak.
I've given you the four teams that are left. I've given you the prices. Who do you want to be on?
I have a hard time convincing myself that it's not going to be San Francisco, New England. I'll be honest with you. I have a hard time convincing myself. That said, if I had to pick which one of the two was going to get upset, I would think San Francisco, because I think, does Kaepernick play as well as he played last week? Hard to say. He could not. And Atlanta is pretty good. I'm not convinced the Ravens have a couple games like they had last week. And Denver should have won that game. And I don't say that as a Broncos fan. They should have won that football game. They had many opportunities to put it away. They allowed that touchdown pass at the end, which was ludicrous. They had chances in overtime. And this is taking nothing away from Baltimore. I just don't know. Even if they win next week, Alan, I'm not sure they can win a Super Bowl. I'm not convinced they can put 3 good games in a row together. So if pushed, I would suggest maybe that San Francisco's a little more vulnerable, but boy, they look good against Green Bay.
So San Francisco, New England to make the Super Bowl is $1.95 chance.
That would be
let's assume
I would go with that.
Let's filter it down one more step now.
Then
if they play off, who wins that match?
I don't know. It's too early. I need 2 weeks to think about that, Al. If you forced me tonight to make a pick, I'll say New England. And I only say that because they failed the last couple times, and I'm giving Bill Belichick an opportunity to come up with a way to stop Colin Kaepernick, because Green Bay couldn't stop him. Green Bay looked terrible against him, and then Atlanta's going to have their work cut out for him stopping him. He's a big, mobile guy who can run. And just a word of warning out there, if you're an Atlanta fan, Falcons struggled a little bit with Cam Newton. I want to say he scored 4 touchdowns against him and didn't throw an interception. And Kaepernick is essentially a similar player to Cam Newton.
We have our two contestants on the line. The lines lit up until I said Pete in Gladstone Park, and they dropped away. So it's almost as if they knew he had a reputation of being an expert or something like that. But eventually, Brendan in Northcote summoned the courage to take him on. Pete in Gladstone Park, though, thank you for calling, and we'll do a little bit of a buzzer test on you this evening. Just fire away with your name. Pete, beautiful. And Brendan in Northcote, thank you for taking up the challenge, Brendan, and a buzzer test for you as well.
Brendan.
And now we've got our quizmaster, Alescander, ready to fire away for an NBA Game Pass. The rules are that Al will read a clue. He'll pause for a moment, give you the chance to answer. If you chime in with the answer and you are correct, you win. If you're incorrect, you are penalised 2 clues, so you've got to sit out for 2 clues, and your opponent will get a couple of hits at it. So basically the rule being don't play unless very confident, Al.
So first clue, Pete and Brendan, is that I was born in Northridge, California in 1986. I played for the USC Trojans. Both my father and my grandfather played in the NFL. In 2010, I was the NFC Defensive Player of the Year. I won a Super Bowl ring in 2011. I wear number 52. It was almost. I'm a linebacker for the Green Bay Packers. Brendan.
I'll have a guess. I don't know, Clay Smith?
You were very close, Brendan. You got half correct, but we can't award on half correct. We'll give you a free throw at the stumps here, Pete, and then we'll give Brendan another chance if you can't get it.
Pressure's on.
Pressure is on. All right, Brendan, you're allowed to come back in. Clay was correct.
I know what he looks like.
He's the third.
Sorry?
I know what he looks like. He's got long hair, or used to have long hair.
He does. You're right. You're correct.
He was injured most of the year, too.
Yeah.
Peter?
He's the third.
Clay Matthews, correct, Peter.
Good competition.
Well done, Peter. Mate, if you hang on the line, we'll grab your contact details and someone from Betstar will be in contact with you tomorrow. We'll arrange an NBA Game Pass. Well done, Peter.
Get the feeling Brendan did a bit of the legwork, but well done to...
and I get the feeling Google did the rest.
Yes, so I think so as well. But any of the NBA markets you'd like to touch on, or any more remaining from the NFL?
So what we'll do is, I'll touch on the NBA, and actually we'll do the NBA in our last segment, because I think we're going to talk about the Knicks a little bit. We're going to talk about the Lakers because they've hit a couple of hurdles. So we'll go on to the Atlanta 49ers game. This is live on ESPN and on 1HD, 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. San Francisco are favourite. They're $1.53 into $1.50. They go away and play at Atlanta, who are $2.56 out to $2.64. The line is 4 points, and the overs and unders are 48.5. My feeling, Ed, and I'm interested in whether you agree or disagree, is that Atlanta's getting to a very good price. They've got a good record against the 49ers, and at $2.64 playing at home and with a good history against the 49ers seems like a big price.
And as we've said, no one's believed in. They just keep winning. Got a great receiving core, as I've said here, probably for the last 3 weeks. Julio Jones, Roddy White, Tony Gonzalez has been sensational. He was a real third down star in their win over Seattle, which was a stunning game, by the way. It's a tough one because if Kaepernick plays the way he did last week and Atlanta can't slow him down, it's all over. They're going to have to slow him down. Matty Ryan has had a great year. He made a couple throws I didn't like against Seattle, but the Seattle defense is pretty solid. It's a pretty solid defense. The 49ers definitely have it all in front of them. They should win this game. I don't think the home field's going to be a massive issue for Atlanta. It is indoors, but I don't think it's going to be a massive issue. And as I said earlier, I do worry about them trying to slow down Kaepernick. They've had some issues with Cam Newton in the 2 games they played this year, and I think they're going to have to really come up with something special, Alan, to slow this guy down. If they can do that, they'll be okay, but then they've got to also make sure that they do their own thing on offense. So
there's no doubt Kaepernick is the cornerstone of this, whether they win or not. There's no doubt.
And that's where Harbaugh's gone all in. He went all in with this 5 weeks ago. and said, "This is our guy."
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He's
It's
only played,
amazing.
what, 9 games, 8 games, something like that. He's only played 8 or 9 games.
Yeah.
And last week, his game was extraordinary. I think he threw for 260-odd yards, and he rushed for 181, which is an NFL record.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just an amazing performance. To expect him to do the same is probably unlikely, but if he does 90% of that, I mean, he still plays a great game and, gives the 49ers a fabulous chance at winning and getting into the Super Bowl.
It should be a good game. I agree with you that